And you and I together, we will change this country and we'll change the world.
They were watching his power. They were watching the large crowds that were following him. And as the crowds grew larger and his oratory more impressive, I mean, when Hitler spoke, when this man stood before 50 and 100 and 200,000 people, he wooed a crowd like no man on earth had ever done. As I watched this parade of this emissary, this ambassador from hell himself called Barack Hussein Obama, got y'all in a trance. And is trying to bring deception all over the world. And all of the world was watching as Hitler was amassing his power and talking about how he was going to change the world. And talking about the things he was going to do about Germany and making her the greatest race and the greatest people that there ever was. And yet no one did a thing. They had likened him, Barack Hussein Obama, to John Fitzgerald Kennedy, our president of America. They likened Barack to him. And then they likened him to Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., which I screamed and railed, don't do that. But now you don't hear them say that anymore. You know why? Because he's so far out ahead of John Kennedy. Kennedy never had the popularity and power that this man, I mean, Kennedy would pray for having half of the kind of popularity that Barack had. And Dr. King, I mean, Stokely Carmichael, Rap Brown, Huey Newton, Bobby Seale, and a whole lot of other people, black people were fighting against Dr. King. Barack got a kind of unity. King, Lord, if King could have had the unity that Barack had, my God. You know, can I take it one step further? Can I preach this? Not even Jesus is as popular as Barack is. I mean, Billy Graham must be having a fit. He must be one that I've been crusading for 50 years and I've never been able to draw the kind of crowds that Barack has. The Pope was here in April and he only got a few people, but Barack gets everybody. Well, let me repeat that. He gets all of y'all. There's one man standing. He's James David Manning, and I'm not going to bow down. But they watched this man build and amass this power of world domination, and the world that should have been stood by and did nothing. And yet he spoke. And when Hitler stood, the people would come, and you can see, if you go back and look at some of the old newsreels of Hitler's speeches, you'll see the people were standing there in awe. Heil Hitler, they would say. You could see the look on their faces as if they were in some sort of trance, and this man spoke with eloquence, this man spoke with power, this man spoke with determination, and every German fell down at his feet and worshiped him. His idea and design was to take charge of the world. Now I know you see where I'm going with this. And I know you see what's happening. All Barack Hussein Obama needs is a mustache. That's all he needs, and an outstretched right arm. And we are repeating history all over again. All over again. Men, women, and children pledged a dying loyalty to Hitler. Heil Hitler! They pledged a loyalty to him that had never been given to any man that had walked this earth before. They loved him and they worshiped him. You know, I've talked with a large number of people that support Barack. They come around and I see in their eyes, and they're saying really with their eyes, Pastor, I can't help it. I know you told me not to, but Pastor, I can't help it. I love that man. I know you told me, Pastor. I know you told me. I know you're angry with me. I know, but look, I love that man and I can't help myself. There's just something about him. I don't know what it is, but there's just something about Barack Obama. I love him, Pastor. I love him. I know I don't want you to be mad with me, Pastor, but I love this man. I love him. I mean, this man, Hitler, had such an influence over the world that everybody was afraid to stand up against him. Not even the Catholic Church, when Hitler was taking the property of Jews and carting them off to those stations where they were killed, the Catholic Church remained silent. Not one pope, not one priest, not one person. They allowed this man with his charismatic speech and his great oratory and his ability to sway tens of thousands of people, and no one, not even the pope, raised his voice against the atrocities, the murdering that he was doing. And it went on. And no one stood against this marauding power of hell itself. And Hitler was able to do all that he wanted to do. As I watched this parade of this emissary, this ambassador from hell himself called Barack Hussein Obama, got y'all in a trance and is trying to bring deception all over the world. But I want to give you a view of what's happening to us at present in this nation from the throne of God, and not from the New York Times or CNN or one of those other devils who've been telling you where the real power lies. Jesus is still on the throne, my son. God still rules. He still rules. And I'm still speaking on his behalf. And I'm God's servant. But not even Jesus. You know what they did to Jesus? They hung him, and the Roman and the Jewish press printed stories that were lies against Jesus. They were against him. Barack's more popular than Jesus. Dr. King, the great man, but God knows he wasn't as powerful as Barack is. And the religious crowds that followed Jesus were not as powerful as the paralyzed, hypnotic people that follow Barack.